You have learned about different configurations of amplifiers using BJT and MOSFET, like a common emitter amplifier, common collector amplifier, and differential amplifiers. For practical applications, when designed in system level, electronic amplifiers suffers from great variability in their characteristics. Such circuits might benefit from the use of feedback to overcome these deficiencies. In this session, you will learn about the concept of feedback amplifiers and the properties of negative feedback. Consider an amplifier with a gain A. The quantities Xi and X0 indicate electrical quantities, either voltage or current. The purpose of an amplifier is to amplify the signal without changing the characteristics of signal except magnitude. So the relation connecting the output of the amplifier with input is given by X0 equal to A into Xi. Here, the output does not influence the input to the amplifier. So the circuit is called open loop amplifier. These open loop amplifiers, when employed practically, any change in gain may affect the output of the circuit. If A changes by del A, then output voltage also changes by del V naught. This is not acceptable in most electronic designs, as the performance of the amplifier changes with external factors. Now, what causes the gain to change? For better understanding, let us take common emitter amplifier circuit whose gain is given by A equal to minus Gm into Rc, where Gm is the transconductance of the amplifier, which is collector current over thermal voltage. We know that both collector current and thermal voltage are temperature dependent. If temperature changes, transconductance changes, and thereby gain also gets changed. So temperature change is one factor which influences the performance of the amplifier. The next factor is aging, that is use of circuit for several months or years. This also may change the performance of the amplifier. And then replacement of device. In circuits, transistors and resistors may go bad, and when replaced, their characteristics may not be identical with the damaged ones. So these are the causes which may affect the performance of an amplifier. So it is essential to design a circuit which is not affected by these changes. This is achieved by incorporating feedback in the circuit. The use of feedback makes the operation of the system largely independent of variations in the external environment. In almost, it is impossible to think of electronic circuit without some form of feedback, either implicit or explicit. In feedback amplifier, a fraction of the output is fed back or mixed with the input. So the input is the geometrical sum of the applied signal and the fraction of the output signal. This provides circuit stability, and furthermore, it modifies the characteristics of an amplifier. Depending on the relative polarity of the signal being fed back into the circuit, feedback amplifiers can either be positive or negative. In amplifier design, negative feedback is used, whereas positive feedback drives the circuit into oscillation. Now, let us look at the general structure of feedback. For this, let us consider an open loop amplifier with the source signal Xs and the output X0 and the input to the base amplifier Xi and the gain of the amplifier A. Now, this open loop amplifier has to be converted into a closed loop amplifier with feedback. Now, how to do it? The output is sampled by means of suitable sampling network. The sampled signal is applied to the input through feedback network. The feedback network is usually a passive network which may contain resistors, capacitors, and inductors. Most often, it is simply a resistive configuration. Two sampling connections are possible. That is a parallel connection and a series connection. If the output voltage is sampled by connecting feedback network in parallel across feedback, referred to as voltage sampling. The output current is sampled by connecting feedback network in series with output, referring as current sampling. So, if the output voltage is sampled by connecting the feedback network in parallel, it is referred as voltage sampling. And if the output current is sampled by connecting the feedback network in series with output, then it is referred to as current sampling. At the input, the feedback signal is combined with the source signal through a mixer network, and then it is fed to the amplifier. Like sampling network, two mixing connections are possible as series mixing and shunt mixing connections. The basic structure of an amplifier, the block diagram shown here, can be represented as a signal flow diagram like this. So now let us analyze the closed loop amplifier using this signal flow diagram. The open loop amplifier has a gain A, thus the output X0 is related to the input Xi by X0 equal to A into Xi. The output X0 is fed to the load as well as it is sampled by the feedback network also. So now the sample of output, that is the feedback signal, is related to the output by Xf is equal to beta into X0, where beta is a fraction which is called as a feedback factor. The feedback signal is subtracted from the source signal. So you can look at the negative sign over here. So thus we can write that Xi to the amplifier is equal to the source signal minus the feedback signal. This subtraction makes feedback negative. Negative feedback reduces the signal that appears at the input of the base amplifier. So Xi. So the gain of the feedback amplifier can be obtained as output by source signal, so X0 divided by Xs. On substituting the values of X0 and Xs and simplifying, you will end up with an expression AF is equal to A over 1 plus A into beta. The quantity A beta is called the loop gain. For feedback to be negative, the loop gain A beta should be positive. That is, the feedback signal should have same sign as the source signal. Only then the resulting Xi will be a small quantity. So the feedback will be negative. So now this expression AF equal to A over 1 plus A into beta indicates that for positive A beta, the gain with feedback, that is AF, will be smaller than the open loop gain A, because you have a denominator term 1 plus A into beta. So AF will always be less than the open loop gain A. So the feedback is termed as negative or degenerative. Now this quantity A plus 1 beta is called the amount of feedback. Now if the loop gain A beta is large, if A beta is much greater than 1, then we can approximate this expression to be equal to 1 by beta. So this indicates that the gain of the feedback amplifier is almost entirely determined by the feedback network. To understand the concept of the negative or degenerative feedback, let us solve an example. In the open loop gain of an amplifier, if the open loop gain of an amplifier is 1 into 10 to the power 4 and the gain of the feedback amplifier is 100, determine the effect on the overall gain of the circuit if the open loop gain varies from 1 into 10 to the power 4 to 2 into 10 to the power 4. So open loop gain is changing from 1 into 10 to the power 4 to 2 into 10 to the power 4, almost 100%. So it is asked to find the effect of the overall gain of the circuit. Okay. Now solving this, so feedback factor or the fraction beta is not given here. So let us find the feedback factor. We know that AF is approximately equal to 1 by beta. So from this, beta will be computed as 0.01. So from using this beta and substituting in the expression for a open loop gain of 1 into 10 to the power 4, then the overall gain of the circuit with the feedback will be equal to 99.00. If the open loop gain changes to 2 into 10 to the power 4, then the overall gain of the feedback amplifier will be 99.5. So if you observe here, the difference between these two values is much small. So if you want to express this quantitatively, we can say that a change of 100% in the value of the open loop gain produces a change of only 0.5% in the overall gain. So this shows the effect on the overall gain of the circuit. So when there is a wide change in the open loop gain, only a small quantity of the overall feedback gain changes. So this is the advantage of an feedback amplifier. Let us discuss about the properties of negative feedback amplifiers. In amplifier design, negative feedback is applied which affects some of the properties of the amplifier. So first, let us see, it is desensitize the gain. To make the gain less sensitive to variations in values of circuit components and temperature. Then reduce nonlinear distortion. To make the output proportional to the input, that is to make the gain constant. And third, to reduce the effect of noise, to minimize the effect of unwanted noise signals or any external interference to the output signal. Then fourth, control input and output resistances. That is to change the input and output resistance of an amplifier by choosing a proper feedback topology. Then 5, to extend the bandwidth of the amplifier. These are the properties of negative feedback amplifiers, and these are the advantages of feedback amplifiers too. So let us see each properties in detail. Gain desensitivity. The variations due to aging, temperature, replacement of the circuit components is reflected in the lack of stability of the amplifier gain. The fractional change in amplification with feedback divided by the fractional change without feedback is called the sensitivity of gain. Consider the overall gain of a feedback amplifier, that is AF equal to A over 1 plus A beta. This expression is differentiated with respect to A, open loop gain, and assuming that the feedback factor beta to be constant. Here, on differentiating and rearranging the terms, you will get it like this, and then dividing on both the sides by AF will end up with this expression. Now here the sensitivity is 1 by 1 plus A beta. The reciprocal of sensitivity is called desensitivity, that is 1 plus A into beta. So this is the amount of feedback which is also known as the desensitivity factor. Now the percentage change in AF is smaller than the percentage change in A by a factor which is equal to 1 plus A into beta. So this was evident or demonstrated in the example problem also. Next is reduction in nonlinear distortion. Suppose a large amplitude signal is applied to an amplifier so that the operation of the device exceeds beyond its range of linear operation, and as a consequence, the output signal is slightly distorted. So many forms of distortions are caused by a nonlinear amplitude response, which means the gain of the circuit varies with amplitude of input signal. If you look at the transfer characteristics of the amplifier with the changing gain, so here the gain is initially it is a high value and then changes to a low value and then even to 0. So this nonlinear transfer characteristics will result in large amount of nonlinear distortion. The amplifier can be considerably linearized through the application of negative feedback. Since negative feedback tends to make the gain more stable, it also tends to reduce distortion. Now, with the negative feedback, the transfer characteristics may look like this. So you can see that the steep changes in slope is reduced, resulting in reduced nonlinear distortion. The factor by which the distortion is reduced is given by 1 plus A beta, that is the amount of feedback. So in all these properties, it conveys that the amount of feedback decides the desensitivity of the gain as well as the reduction in nonlinear distortion. Next is reduction in noise or interference. Negative feedback can be employed to reduce the noise or interference in an amplifier. More precisely, to increase the signal to noise ratio. Consider a circuit shown here, an amplifier with a gain A1 and input signal that is a source Vs, voltage source, and a noise signal Vn. Assume that the amplifier suffers from noise, and the noise can be assumed to be introduced at the input of the amplifier. So the signal to noise ratio is found to be S by N equal to Vs divided by Vn. This is a source voltage and this is a noise signal, noise or interference signal. Now this signal to noise ratio has to be improved. Now consider a noise-free amplifier stage with the gain A2 that is used as pre-amplifier stage. So now the negative feedback is applied to keep the overall gain as constant. So now the signal to noise ratio can be computed as the output of this amplifier A2 is A2 into its input Vs, and this is a noise signal Vn. So now the signal to noise ratio is Vs into A2 divided by Vn. So on rearranging, we can say that Vs by Vn into A2. So on comparing this expression with the previous expression, this shows that the signal to noise ratio is improved here. That is, it is A2 times higher than the previous case. Thus, the noise is reduced and the signal to noise ratio is improved here. Next is bandwidth extension. The frequency response of the amplifier with and without feedback is shown here. Where AM is the midband gain of the amplifier without feedback, and AMF is a midband gain of amplifier with feedback. So you can observe here that there is a reduction in the gain. Now, but what is the factor by which the gain is being reduced here? So the midband gain of feedback amplifier is expressed as AM over 1 plus AM into beta. You can also notice that the amplifier, the frequency response, that is the upper cutoff frequency, is increased here, and the lower cutoff frequency is decreased here. So an expression for lower 3 dB frequency is given by FL over 1 plus AM into beta, where FL is a lower 3 dB frequency of amplifier without feedback. And the upper 3 dB frequency with feedback is given by FH into 1 plus AM into beta. So you can observe that the lower 3 dB frequency is decreased by a factor 1 plus AM into beta, and the upper 3 dB frequency is increased by the same factor 1 plus AM into beta. So this 1 plus AM into beta is nothing but the amount of feedback. So this extends the bandwidth of the amplifier. So the new bandwidth of the amplifier with feedback is this. So these are the advantages of negative feedback amplifiers. Thank you.